Hello guys, today we will be reviewing Dune Part 2. One of the best parts of the movie is the cinematography, and mainly because it's super immersive. The way that Roger Deakins and obviously Villeneuve show Arrakis is very beautiful, and it's not only beautiful but it's also very potent because it makes you believe that you are there with the Fremen. I mean, especially the way that Villeneuve and also Roger decided to show how the Fremen get on top of the sandworms was perfect. So yeah, this was a very big positive of the film. Another very positive aspect that this movie has is Chani. Thank goodness that we have her in this movie because she didn't appear in part 1. I really thought that we were going to have more of her in part 1, but no, I mean, this movie really delivers on the promise of having Zendaya in the Dune universe, because she not only plays a very interesting character, but she also plays a very interesting character that helps develop the story. Because I mean, in the books, basically the Fremen accept Paul as the Messiah very quickly, but in this movie we see that the younger Fremen, especially the people that are not from the south, are having a little bit more of trouble believing that Paul is the Messiah. So yeah, the way in which Zendaya plays the love aspect of the film, which I think is very important to this version of the story, and also the way in which she starts believing in Paul, and also when she realizes that Paul is changing into something different than the person that she loved, was very interesting to watch. And yeah, I think that Zendaya did a fantastic job, and also the writers in changing the character in certain ways to make her more modern and also more realistic. We'll talk more about the ending later. So one of the best aspects of Villeneuve being probably one of the best directors living today is that he's very respected, and not only with us but also in the film industry. And I mean, that really shows because you can see that everyone involved with the movie was giving it their all, and I'm talking generally, but where it's most obvious to see is with the actors. They are really giving the best that they've got. I mean, and the new cast members are great. Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan is perfect. Christopher Walken as the Emperor is perfect. And also, Austin Butler is really great. We're going to talk a little bit more also about him later. But I mean, with the material that he's given, he's really great. So yeah, and not only the new people are great, but also the returning cast members are great. And also, if you look at Dune Part 1 and Part 2 as a movie, as a story, I really want to rewatch them together because I think that would be really special. The evolution that Lady Jessica has is great, and the acting, I mean, is phenomenal. And also, I mean, of course, the evolution of Paul Atreides is great. I mean, I do have one little issue with that we're going to talk a little bit later, but the acting for the character is great. And to be honest, when I watched Dune Part 1, I hadn't read the books, but because I liked the movie so much, I read the books afterwards. And when I started reading the books, I noticed that the way that the movie showcased the character didn't really fit with what I was envisioning at the time. But I find it really interesting how they decided to make the character more as a kid in the first movie, so that then in a second movie they could show him more as a man or becoming a man, and then morphing into what he ended up becoming, which you can call a dictator, an emperor, whatever. But I mean, the evolution was great, and the way that he was portrayed was awesome. But I do have one issue with it, an issue that we're going to talk about right now in the negatives. And that issue is the evil waters. And I mean, I know that it happens in the book, but in the book it's a little bit different, because it's not like Paul becomes evil or really morally dubious just because of the waters. I mean, he's also becoming into a mentat, so you can argue that he's becoming into something different, something new. But the way in which Lady Jessica and Paul Atreides' personality changed completely, although it makes sense because they're supposed to be now fused with the personalities of the other Reverend Mothers, watching it in the film felt really sudden. I don't know if maybe they could have changed that slightly so that the change was a little bit less drastic. So yeah, but having said that, which was something that I do have to say, I really like the evolution of the character and the way in which Timothy shows the change. I mean, that scene in which he basically shows all the Fremen that he's the Messiah and basically starts like yelling at them and everything is probably one of the highlights of Timothy's career. So yeah, that was a great scene. So yeah, something that I really liked was Christopher Walken as the Emperor. Having said that, I wanted more of the character. And I mean, this is a half empty, half full thing, because you can argue that that's a great thing because that means that I really like the portrayal and that I really like obviously the actor, but at the same time I ended the movie wanting a bit more of him. I would have liked at least 5 more minutes with him, not much more, because I understand that this was a very big story to tell, but just maybe one more scene with his daughter, although I understand why maybe they couldn't have done that. But like I say, these are like nitpicks, but they are things that I have to say. And also, speaking about wanting more, the ending was a bit weird for me, because when Janie left, I was a bit surprised, because that's not how the story goes in the book. But at the same time, I was really intrigued, because now I don't really know how they are going to approach the third film, and I'm really excited for the third film. I was at that point in the movie theater, because first I was surprised, and then like almost in a second I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting, I really wonder what they're going to do with this. And then she basically gets in a pose for getting the sandworm, and then she basically strikes that pose to ride the sandworm, and then the movie was over. And I was like, I really liked the movie, but I wanted a little bit more, or maybe a more conclusive ending. And by conclusive, I don't really mean like even one more scene, but maybe like taking that scene out and maybe just ending it a little bit before. I don't know. And like I said before, this is a half empty, half full thing, because if I wanted more, it means that I really enjoyed the movie, which of course I really did. So yeah, but I'm really excited for the third film, and I really want the third film to release right now. So yeah, so my final negative is Fate Rautha. And I know, this is a bit shocking because everyone like loves the portrayal. And I'm not saying that I dislike the portrayal, not at all. I think that Austin Butler made some very interesting choices, and not only that, but I mean, his acting was phenomenal. And I really, like I said, talking about the choices, I really liked what he decided to do with his voice to sound kind of like Stellan Skarsgård. And really, I don't have a problem with the character in the movie or how he's portrayed. What I'm more talking about is how the media decided to go with the story that he was the best part of the movie, that his acting was better than everyone else's. And I mean, honestly, in the media junkets, I heard more about how scary he was than anything else. And I even heard people saying that he was one of the best villains in movie history, which, I mean, that's not true. So yeah, the character is great, the portrayal is very good. I would have liked more with him. This seems to be like a recurring thing with this movie, because I wanted more of the end, I wanted more with the Emperor, and I also wanted more, especially wanted more with Fate. But what we got was great. So yeah, I really liked the character, I really liked how he was utilized in the movie. I wasn't really a fan of how he did the hand in the box thing, but apart from that, he was great. But the thing that I do have a problem with was how he was overhyped for the movie. So that when I went to see it, I liked what I saw, but when the movie ended, I was like, that's weird. I don't really have the same feelings as everyone else regarding to Fate, but I guess that's okay. So yeah, this was my Dune Part 2 review, and I know that I always say that, but now I'm really meaning it. I'm going to start making at least one video each week. So please, like, subscribe, leave a comment, especially leave a comment, because I really want to know what movies, shows, or anything else you want me to review or react to. So yeah, until next time.